Great, thank you, and I'm joined today by Ann Sears, who's our consultant, and I'm going to see if I can mess up the video here, because I'd like to be able to see it on my screen as well. All right. Okay. One more time.
No input.
There we are, but of course that's wrong. Trying to see what we can do to mess it up here for you. Well, I've totally blown it now. Let's see what happens.
Do those birds represent the commissioners?
They're colorful.
You'll notice there are 3 of them. Ah, Barney, there you go.
Thank you.
Well, I did mess it up. I promised you I would.
No, I sit over here.
Chris. Jack, grapple, his handout. Philip's got a handout.
Sir. Don't you love PowerPoint and projections?
Microsoft Mobile.
Yes.
So Ann, is this a staff presentation or is this a public hearing?
This is a presentation.
Okay.
Made out 1033 in the impact.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll just have to follow on the screen with the rest of y'all. Okay, well, thank you very much. So today is, the last time I was before you was on August 10th. So this is an update, progress report on the preparation for 2010 budget, and also how we may need to implement initiative 1033 if it is enacted in the general election this November. And no, it's not. I apologize. There we go. So just to recap from August 10th, you may recall that I presented to you then, with Ann's help, a preliminary 5-year financial projection that showed that we had a growing $1.9 million annual gap in the general fund between revenues and the cost to maintain current services. And the gap needs to be closed either with permanent program cuts or with new revenues. And the gap reflects the disparity between the state's current 1% cap on revenues from property taxes compared with approximate 4% average inflation in the actual cost to provide existing county services. So this difference between the 1% and the 4% essentially means that our property taxes lose 3% buying power per year, and that is our structural funding problem, initially enacted under Initiative 747 and reenacted by the state legislature. So that's an existing problem before that we're dealing with in the 2010 budget and beyond. And you may recall that I showed you this graph at the time. The green line is our projected revenues. The pink line here is what historic expenditures have been. You can see that we got into trouble in 2008, and now we're trying to work ourselves back into alignment. In this period, we're drawing down fund reserves to help get by, but we presented to you a plan over the next several years to bring expenditures down and back under revenues so that we could start rebuilding fund balances. And the difference between what the natural rate of growth of expenditures would be and where we need to get to is about $1.9 million. And in the past, this structural problem was not revealed to us for a number of years because essentially from 2002 to 2008 we had a fairly hot economy. We knew that we had a lot of tax revenue from new construction and also had robust sales tax growth. What this is showing is from 2002 to 2008, this is what was in our property base, property assessment base in 2002. This is showing at the 1% rate of growth that we took a year. The purple or blue, whichever your eyes see, is new construction on top of that, and you can see that that significantly increased property tax revenues over that period. But what happens now when you look at inflation? So here's those same numbers adjusted for the consumer price index, and you can see that the 2002 valuation base was declining in terms of the real buying power of the dollars that it was bringing in. The new construction pretty much counterbalanced that so that the buying power stayed about the same, actually went up a little bit. But if you superimpose on that, this green line is what our population was doing at the same time. And so what you can see is for providing services to a growing population, we actually lost some ground even in a time of extraordinary economic growth. So as I said, in past years, our extraordinary economic growth masked our structural problem. That's no longer the case. Sales tax for 2010 is projected to be about 10% lower in absolute dollars, not relative dollars, than in 2006. And this is showing what's happening with sales tax. So here's 2006 where we hit a high, and here's where we think we'll be next year. So you can see we're losing ground there. This is not directly in the general fund, but has affected the general fund. Real estate excise tax on the sale of homes and property also peaked. In this case, it peaked in 2005, and you can see what's happened since then. This revenue has paid for capital investments by the county, so it's significantly hurting our capital investments in technology and information technology and buildings, and our ability to do other capital projects such as parks and whatnot. And also this is in the past covered bond payments that we have had to make on prior bonds for capital projects. Currently, the general fund is backfilling what this is not raising because we're not able to cover our full bond payments out of real estate excise.